Hey everybody, this is lead prospect analyst Eric Longenhagen coming to you on Sunday, August 1st. Just a few hours removed from the trade deadline here. And Kevin Goldstein and I just get off the phone going through the list of prospects who were traded to rank them for going up on the site on Monday. I think it should run on Monday. And if not, shortly after that. And we feel pretty good about where we have most of the guys, but we give everyone a once over and text a source or two if it means better understanding some guys and moving them on the board immediately, just to have as close to the right answer as we can. So I want to go through, show you a little bit of the process in terms of building this table and then how it ends up on the site. But I did want to talk about some of the interesting guys from the group here. It's been a while since I've done the daily prospect notes video with the all-star break and the trade deadline kind of mushed together. So I figured I'd do that here. I want to take you through the names that are interesting for one reason or another, and especially the ones who either moved or we talked about moving sort of post facto here after the deadline itself passed based on new information. So Nick Madrigal, not a prospect anymore, but is sort of in that weird limbo area because he hasn't played consistently due to injury. This is just the spot that he would have been on the 100, basically. Like JoJo Gray was ahead of him on the 100 coming into the year. They were in the same future value tier, and that's just where Nicky's going to stay. Not going to hit for power at all, but just think he's a David Fletcher, Luis Arias type of player, and that this is just where that guy belongs. Kyber Ruiz, we moved up within the 50 future value tier from something close to like 80th to 40th, just based on how he's hitting for power this year. Austin Martin, when that deal broke for Jose Barrios, we decided we need to talk about this. He has basically been the low-end version of what people have seen out of him for the last year and a half now. That end of the 2019 college postseason is a long time ago now. Austin Martin came out in 2020 before the shutdown and struggled. Did not look good throwing the ball at first base, wasn't running well. There definitely wasn't impact power here, although that was always true. You thought you were getting at peak a guy who would play all over the place, including a few up the middle positions, and have elite feel for contact and control of the strike zone. And while I still think those last couple of things are true, it's looking rough. Like where this guy fits defensively is probably going to be something like left field most comfortably. Maybe he can play second base, but still struggling to throw the ball to first base accurately. And he's just a 50 runner, so not a lock to play center field. So suddenly you have like a corner guy without a lot of power. So we still would rather take Austin Martin at this point than Spencer Howard. Austin Martin's now like about 60th overall on the prospect list. It's still a good player. Spencer Howard graduated from prospecthood as a 50 future value, and that's just where we've got him. It looked for a little while like he was scratching the surface of something really special coming off of, being a college reliever basically at a smaller California school, and then being developed in pro ball, having mid to upper 90s plus changeup, 2 good breaking balls that he'd located, to like having shoulder issues and not being able to hold his stuff deep into starts. Basically, it's just sort of the nature of pitching. This guy could go either direction. A year from now, would it surprise me if he just belonged on either side of Josiah Gray in a ranking of the guys traded at this deadline? It would not surprise me if he were up here, and it wouldn't surprise me if he were down wherever, oft injured Anderson Espinoza territory, right? Like that's basically the 12-month range for where Spencer Howard might end up on some sort of valued prospect continuum, just because this guy's been injured and at other times within the last couple of years has looked unbelievable. So That's where Spencer Howard is. And honestly, like, that's the same basically goes for both of the other 250 future value guys on this list, Kevin Alcantara, Ezekiel Duran. Big time upside risk guys. Duran, it's because of swing and miss issues. He can play second base, but not well. The Dan Uggla comp here is, I feel free making it. Like, you know, I say I'm not a comp guy all the time, but then I feel free to make a bunch of comps lately. It's just the case here with Duran. Like, I think it's true. It's that type of skill set where he can barely play second base, but boy, oh boy, does he have 35 plus home run power, and so he's going to play there and strike out a lot, but hit for huge, huge power in the middle infield position. And then Alcantara's got that 6'6" build where he's going to be, you know, 6'7", 240 at peak, and it's going to, you know, not going to show on him because he's just got that kind of frame. And then whether, because of the levers, he actually hits or not is up in the air. But this is another chance, like, to play center field and have gargantuan power. So the risk is and upside are both baked into Alcantara's grade here. Kevin and I both wanted to put Josh Smith at the very, very top of the 45 future value group from this trade deadline. We just really believe in him as a well-rounded, good baseball player who has a chance to be like a puncher's chance to just be an everyday middle infielder at second or short. Maybe not a first division guy, but play every day on the middle infield. Pete Crow Armstrong, again, throwing the comps around pretty cavalierly at this point, but I feel it's apt here. Jackie Bradley Jr. and Pete Crow Armstrong, birds of a feather in my opinion. Then we stack these 45 arms who we think have the best chance of either starting or giving you multiple innings. Alex Jackson, Marlins catcher now. We still just think the guy's got crazy power for a catcher. Is built like the type of catchers who break late and really only blossom in their late 20s. That's what we expect from Alex Jackson. He's going to get an opportunity in Miami, I think, considering that Jorge Alfaro cannot get off the ground, but there are a lot of the same issues going on here with Jackson. So we'll see how that goes. Some of the high-risk guys in the 45s. Vizcaíno is just a reliever for us, but probably a setup man. Alexander Canario, swing and miss problems because of approach. Joe Ryan, it's like 76% fastball, which is not sustainable for a starter. At least there's no one starting in the big leagues right now who throws that many fastballs. So we have multi-hitting relief grade on him. Still think he's an impact piece of a staff, though. And that's the end of the 45 guys from this trade deadline group. You know, then this is interesting. Aldo Ramirez, just a classic high upside 20-year-old arm, really athletic, low 90s, change up, command, definite starter. We just had this guy valued like a junior college arm who goes like early in the second round, basically. He's that age, so you can make some apples to apples comparisons there. I feel pretty good. Anderson Espinoza, he'll show you 3+ pitches. And he's also barely pitched over the course of the last 4 years because of injuries. We also have the comp pick. This is an interesting decision point for us to kind of discuss. Like, this comp pick that the Rockies essentially are going to get for Trevor Story rather than a player, this is where we have that value. This is where in the draft that pick's going to be. Like I mentioned with Aldo Ramirez, like, he is just about as talented as the type of pitcher who gets picked like at the end of the first, comp round, early second round, in that general range. And so the comp pick that the Rockies are going to get for Trevor Story should just be valued in this area. We do think there's something to be said for like the time value of the pick, like transferring to the Rockies. This is a player, but it's not a player until about a year from now, right? So that factored into where we value this pick. But we do think that there's more upside in the pick than there is with the rest of the 40+ tier who moved at this deadline. So Greg Deichmann, Bryce Ball, we think are like big power corner pieces, but not like true everyday guys. We still want to put them in a future value tier of relative impact, because we do think that they're going to be good at the role that we expect them to have, but it is going to be more of a role player look than an everyday type of guy. Caleb Killian came over from the Giants. Killian's been really shoving most of the year, and I saw him a couple times last fall. Have notes. talked to scouts and analysts about him, have notes from that, and no one's really in love with him, but he's shoving. And it's just because he's got 6 command. So the analysts that we're talking to are looking at stuff metrics, and in my short fall looks, especially, I was looking for stuff, and this guy was like 91, 93 with pretty average secondaries, but he commands the heck out of them, and he's been carving all year long. So, overtly, when you just look at Caleb Killian, he's a 40. He's a 5th starter looking guy. But with plus command and the way he's performing, he needs to have the 40 plus designation, which in the background we just have as a 42. Feeds into the site as a 35 plus would be a 37, and a 40 plus would be a 42, like in our background designations. Just when we're like sorting these spreadsheets and stuff and working with him, that's how we have it lined up so that it fits nicely in there. We can sort. But yeah, Caleb Killian, definitely there's a tip of the iceberg piece to understanding how he's doing what he's doing right now. And that's enough, I think, to rank him in this impact tier of 40 plus. Gerardo Carrillo and Daniel Palencia, both maybe relievers. Not maybe they're relievers, as in like they're either nothing or they're a reliever, but like are trending in this way for as a like starter toward reliever. Carrillo is already clearly there, in my opinion. And Palencia, we don't really know yet. This is another tip of the iceberg type guy, but definitely has that like power arm with a breaking ball, longer arm action, kind of scary. You don't typically see a guy like that starting vibe, but we only have like less than 20 innings from Daniel Palencia, so wait and see. Cooper Hummel, surprise guy at the top of the 40s. Actually still want to do some video work on Cooper Hummel before we stick him here, so he's subject to change. Actually, let me remind myself that I need to do that. And so then, yeah, some of the other interesting guys who slid up or down in the rest of the group here as we get to the thick 40 and below groups are Austin Shenton, like just performing well enough that he's going to move up from the 35 plus to the 40s. He's hitting enough that he's like a pre-arb first base DH guy, lefty, stick off the bench. Like he's going to have a big league role, we think, but probably not enough power to be an everyday guy at first base or as like a barely passable defender at third base. So Shenton is a piece. Actually, if I'm just sitting here, I think I'd rather get Howard, who can kind of play the middle of the field. Or at least is a threat to potentially be at second base defensively what Austin Shenton hopefully can be at third base, which is like, yeah, he can kind of stand there every once in a while. But Howard, there's not a big gap in power here. Howard's feel for the zone is a little better, so I think I'd rather have him. Who else here moved? Noah Davis was throwing well for the Reds before this trade with Colorado. So he moved up at least within the 40s a little bit, whereas he would have typically been toward the bottom of this group. Alex Scherf with Minnesota now, formerly of Boston, was a driveline guy in high school, really changed his body and just became an arm strength goof, but he's got a real change up now. So we have him with a middle relief future value. He's moved up from the honorable mention of the Red Sox list to the 40 future value tier of the Twins list based on sourcing after the deal was made. Seth Schumann's thrown enough strikes now. We have like a sample of data that this guy's got a shot to have plus command and maybe outperform his raw stuff as well. So Schumann going from Oakland to Washington in the Johnny Gomes, Josh Harrison, like 5-player swap or whatever. He's at the very least an interesting depth starter arm to watch, who maybe is just a lock back of the rotation type guy. If he's performing like he has to this point, Schumann, by the time he's in Double-A, then he should just be a 40 or better. You can see he's done it at high A to this point as a 23-year-old, but this track record of throwing strikes at a premium rate has gotten longer and not allowing any dingers, keeping the ball in the park. So Seth Schumann moved up for us. Who else? Like some of these guys. Casey Kalich just is 35 plus up down relief type guy. That's what this future value tier, the 35 plus, is for a lot of the pitching that you see on our list. It's just we think that during the guy's option years, he's going to be back and forth between the big leagues and AAA. While if he's fresh, he'll be up and then throw back-to-back days and go back down. So, and then the 35s are like the honorable mention types on the lists. Alberto Ciprian is the youngest of this group. I've seen him a fair bit over the last couple of years, with the Brewers extended spring and instructs groups, and he's really well built and he has some power. It's a little bit like slidery bat speed. Third base right now, trending down toward maybe first base eventually, but it's just interesting that he's the young one of the rest of this group. Anybody else really do anything here? Like Josh Gessner has lowered his arm slot, and his fastball's got pretty considerable tail and divergent action from his breaking ball now, so maybe this is a little bit low for him. This is the type of guy who becomes like what Ryan Thompson has become for the Rays, where it's that lateral action type of reliever. And then I think that's pretty much it. So there will be analysis on the site. You can look and see brief scouting reports on all the guys who are listed here and who I just mentioned. And pretty soon now, they will also be updated on the main section of the board. They won't just exist in this article anymore. They'll just go onto either the new place on the new team's prospect list or on there for the first time at all. In the case of some of these guys who moved up towards the bottom of the list. Most of this is already done. It was just a matter of biting off more than I could chew on deadline day, and then need to set it down a little bit on Saturday and come back to it. So I'm working the rest of the day here on Sunday on what you're watching now and getting this piece up on the site. So one of the other things I have to get done, or I'd like to get done, in the next couple of days is labeling all the unlabeled video that I shot from this spring. I've got an external hard drive here that the stuff that I shoot ends up on, and after the pandemic and not really going to games for a while, my ability to log this stuff as I recorded it started to take a dip. It just became a thing that I was really good at being in the habit of doing as soon as I got home from the field, and then kind of lost that discipline coming out of the pandemic. So this is the extent of the video that I have yet to label from this spring. Some of the stuff in this folder has been labeled and still just needs to be sent off to like where it actually belongs in this like cataloging system that I put together for myself. There's been a lot of trial and error that's gone into the way I go about doing this. Figured I'd start to share it with folks now, just my best practices, so you don't have to learn the hard way how to log video in the way that is most efficient for pulling later when you want to like put something together to throw online or share with, if you're doing something like this with a group of people, and share a Dropbox or whatever. Like, this is the way I'd go about doing it. So because my hard drive is plugged into the USB port on this laptop right now, I'm not going to be humming along at exactly the speed that I would be typically. I'm going to change this to make it be icons, though. I think it needs to be a little bigger than this for camera. Basically, as you can see, that some of the ones that are labeled here, I'm just, in the case of the slow-mo video, I'm noting that it's slow-mo so that I can search for slow motion video in my taskbar here en masse, and then I'm putting the player's name and the pitch type in there, and then I like to do tight and wide angle. I don't know how necessarily that's become for like Dropbox stuff. It's nice to see it there because there's not a nice little preview thumbnail. like you get here, where you just know instantly looking at it whether it's a wide or tight shot of the guy's release. Let's see if I have. So this is slow-mo from the Futures game, and you can see I quickly labeled this for a stream that I did earlier in the week, and so I wasn't a good boy and labeled slow-mo and pitch type for any of these, so that means I have to go back and redo that. So not a great job by me in that situation. Okay, these are shorter from my handheld camera rather than the set camcorder. This is 22 high school all-star game from the Friday before the Futures game at Coors. I'm gonna skip on working on this right now. I think what I want to do, this is 27 minutes long. A lot of these are going to be quite long. I think I'm going to avoid these folders. A lot of these are like high speed from the spring. I think this is what I want to do now. This doesn't blow your ears out. Alright, so what I do is I fire up this video, and now I'm just going to sit with a notepad. And I'm just writing down the last names of everyone who we see in the video, and then that's going to become the file name for this file. So this is just Brian Bello, basically. Bayo, excuse me. It's not Brian Bello, like fellow. And if anything else notable goes on in these clips, I typically label it if there's a caught stealing or if someone gets picked off or whatever. This is just Brian Bello. Some of these are going to be a little bit longer than others, and so I'm just going to kind of let them roll and page through. Oh, okay, so this is from an Instructs game. Or not an Instructs game, this is from a Complex League game. So this is Octavio Becerra's pitching. This guy's got a great breaking ball. This is Wilbur Perez in the box. This is a pretty twitchy shortstop prospect, young guy. Well built, but needs to add strength. Definitely is kind of selling out mechanically to swing the bat hard right now. I remember from this outing specifically that Becerra took a little while to find feel for his breaking ball. I'm pretty sure he walks Perez here. And this is the guy, this is Misael, what's the name again? You can see here's Becerra starts to get feel for this breaking ball. This breaking ball is going to carve the lower levels. I'm going to get to the box score for this game real quick. I think this was the third. This was not. Yeah, like that's a nasty breaking ball. Becerra's on the Dodgers list already. I don't feel inclined to move him. The breaking ball is vicious, but he does have a relief look to him. This is not from the right day. I just did this. I think I know how to do this consistently. Let's watch straight through here. Pretty sure this is just another breaking ball. No, that's a heater. He was like 88, 92 here. He's not all that projectable for how old he is, but or how young he is, rather, I guess is the right way to say that, but that breaking ball is for real. This is him facing the heart of this White Sox order. Misael Gonzalez is the guy, right? This is Wilfred Veras. In the box right now. Wilfred. Sam Abbott. And Logan Glass. And if I see somebody at the field who I believe merits like immediate attention, then I'll just get the video uploaded as soon as possible. Otherwise, I just kind of do it when it makes sense. Like if I'm working on a team's list, I'll go through and collect the fresh video I've got and mush it together with the old stuff. What I should start doing is like labeling years within the video so that folks can see progression and make it a little bit easier. Since I'm not like rolling fresh video out all the time, if I see the same guy with weeks in between, there aren't going to be like 2 videos online. It'll just eventually be one video. So Luis Rodriguez in there. What's this fella's name on the mound again? Hutchinson, I want to say. Bryce Hutchinson, there he is. Mets 2017 guy. Just one of those guys who was released. Yeah. It's not a bad cut there from Rodriguez. He does get his hands in. Real bottom hand heavy swing from this guy. He's okay. You know, this was a big time bonus dude of the Dodgers who, in a little less than a year on the complex, at this point, he looks okay. So we've got Perez in here again, which is good. Santana or Martinez on the mound here for the Dodgers. Oh, we'll see this cut again. Yeah, that's okay. Martin, Santana. I guess that this is this guy, not Michael Martinez. Maybe this is Martinez, yeah. So Martinez is 22, okay. Now it's coming back to me that I knew that this was an older guy as we were watching him. Not that I just knew it, but like I looked at the roster. I think he was like up to 94. There's a lot of 92s and 93s. Ouch. I think Quiroz might have been removed between innings after this. Oh no, Quiroz was the replacement. That's right. Catching man. So Michael Martinez. Yeah, I'm just writing so that I can remember everybody when it's time to name the file. Here comes Misael. Gonzalez again. See Misael Gonzalez having a little bit of trouble with pitch recognition here just in the two ABs that we've seen. I guess he's center cut through the middle of the zone. One score. Another one? Yeah. Alright, so yeah, punching out at a 30% clip. You can see the walk rate's low, been low, which speaks to some of the pitch recognition issues that we've seen on film and in person. Well, I mean, for you it's on film, and for me it's in person and now revisiting the film. This is a big line, but I don't think I'm going to move in here. You can see it's like corner only frame with some concerning peripherals, so despite how big the line is, I'm not gonna move in there. So we get a pitching change here. This is 64. I think we already know that this is Galindo. Harold Galindo, 20-year-old Venezuelan, 11 innings and 7 outings, 12 Ks. Okay. So if folks don't know, you can just learn what a guy's repertoire is by watching him warm up. Just because he's got a signal to the catcher what it is he wants to throw, and so they have a little talk about what those things are, and then he's going to signal to the catcher what's coming. And so when he flicks his glove like that, that's a fastball. There's another one. Kind of see it. I don't know even how I describe what he's doing, sort of like backhanding the glove toward the catcher to indicate fastball. This is going to be a slider. He's just sort of indicating the movement of the pitch that's about to come. Another slider. When you hold the glove palm out, face, and then push it down, there's another fastball coming. Then that'll be a changeup. 3 more he's asking for. Self-explanatory. There's a changeup coming. I see more breaking ball here. Fastball. Again, this is Wilfred Veras. You can see again, like, ouch. Bigger bodied guy, so even though we're talking about young players, it's not necessarily like he's 18, but I'm not projecting like he's 18. At least on the raw power. Okay. Sam Abbott again. Sam Abbott trying to do like the Matt Olson thing. Abbott's got real power. It's just about hitting. Here's Hutchinson again. Dodgers bats we got here. Who's this? This is Luis Yanel Diaz, who's tooled up and has been in rookie ball still for 4 years because his baseball feel is not the best. Breaking ball there. You see Tamara's running around out there. There he is in center field. So the line he's putting up, the position he's playing. Gotta be careful. I think the model-driven teams that are maybe a little more influenced by just what position on paper it says the guy's been playing, are at least gonna correct for what's going on with his play discipline metrics there. So this is the 9-hole guy. So we get Jose Ramos next, although I think he gets. Oh, this is what you're listening to, by the way. I think Jose Ramos gets plunked in the next AB though. A little sinker, could have been a combio. We're watching an org arm, who was released by the Mets, and just around because the White Sox need a healthy arm, which everybody needs, and is picking up guys who have been released. It's tough because it's, you want everyone to succeed, but everyone can't succeed at the level that the bar we've set as a determination for success. But honestly, like, if you're playing pro baseball at all, that's incredible, and to have been cut by the Mets and then a second team is like, you know what, we like this guy too. To just have, you're wearing a big league uniform right now, basically. Even as you're sweating your ass off on the backfields on like a humid monsoon season, 104 degrees, game's been moved up to 1 p.m. for no reason. But you're a pro ball player, dude. So yeah, like, Bryce Hutchinson's not going to be on a prospect list or anything like that, but all these guys deserve some amount of respect. On a certain type of journey, it's thankless. So here's Ramos while they're having a little discussion. Any of these lo-fi hip-hop stations are good for me to work to. I just figured I don't know, probably there might be copyright claims on this week. So we'll find out. So you can see Ramos has since been promoted. He hit like almost 10 bombs or something like that during extended and continued to rake on the complex. Contacts, let's go back here. He's 5 for 5 on this day. See, he's doing the Mookie thing stance-wise. He's just super smooth, guides the barrel to the ball. There's some natural lift. It's not crazy explosive, but it is under control, and he's been hitting for power all spring. So he's been moved up. You can see, look at how reliable the lift is. The ground ball rates as low as they are. So he moved into the 40 pluses. This is a guy who I think has real upside, basically. This is the piece, the power piece, that we have to regrade. I think we're probably looking at like closer to average raw with real ability to tap into it in games based on the feel to hit and the consistency of the lift and the swing. So, if you want to just do that shit in here. Alright, so he's 20 now, so let's update the present hit and power grades as well. So I still think I want to go neutral on the hit. It's not bad by any stretch, but it is not like advanced in a way that I want to put a 35 on it to indicate that, but the way that the lift and the swing is meriting a 35. For those who don't know, like for teenage prospects, present hit and power grades are just either a 20 or a 25. If it's neutral or bad, it's just going to be a 20. And if it's advanced, it's going to be a 25. And then when you're a college age player in the lower minors, you know, when you're between 20 and 22 basically, then I want that to be 30 and 35, but same concept. So I'm going neutral here for Ramos on the general feel to hit for his age with a future 50, and then advanced in terms of like tapping into the game power now. And I think we want a 55. What the output's going to be, even if the raw is just average raw. At peak, not a crazy amount of physical projection here. I keep hitting the wrong thing. My instincts are clicking the YouTube thing for a video. I've lost track of who we're watching here. So this was also, we got Ramos on here. We have Quiroz. Did I miss anybody? Check between pitches here. There's only a minute and a half of this video. I'm going to track that breaking ball pretty well. It's okay, no Ramos then Quiroz, so we're good to go here still. Okay, change up. Can't roll these innings, so I assume Rodriguez at bat that we saw the end of in our last video is just the culmination of this AB. Hutchinson. I'm trying to use the full names for guys with generic last names. But feel free to use just the last name if it's a relatively unique moniker. Keep pushing just for the sake of variety on your end. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit with what I grab. Yeah, let's do this one. This is a Giants-Cubs complex league game. I'm having this problem with my camera. I don't know if it's just when I fire up the file in this software, but sometimes some of the first couple seconds get sped up. Well, it Didn't happen that time. So it might just be lag, depending on how I open the video. Alright, let's see if I can find the date for this one here too. Some of these tabs. The FanGraphs tab open. Jose Marte, yeah, I gotta do with it. I forgot to add it to the list of guys, it's fine. What is this video from? June 29th. This is the third night I've seen Manuel Mercedes with the Giants. He's very interesting. I'm kind of surprised he wasn't moved, actually. Recording software. I use OBS to do all this, by the way. This is Ezekiel Pagan. I almost said Emilio Pagan. Hitting right now. Undersized. Center fielder. Feel for contact. Just a nice minor league, top of the order catalyst type guy. This was still during the time before the Cubs group was playing in Sloan Park, the big league spring training stadium. So this is a backfield. This is field 1. So the video is a little bit askew because of COVID protocols. They limited other scouts and non-Cubs personnel to be hanging out during the game. Just kind of stuck my camera on a pole on the backstop. I've got like magnetic tripod that my camcorder rests on. I'm gonna go grab my charger. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna let this roll for you guys here. So then this is a righty Reggie Preciado at bat. Preciado, part of the return from Yu Darvish. Good pitch. What are you gonna do about that? Can't do anything about that. That's a good pitch. And Mora was in this video as well. Who was the lefty? Oh, it can only be... That won't be confusing at all. This is not this anymore. This is with the kids. I muted this while whatever the kids are listening to here between innings is on. I dig being exposed to some of the stuff they're listening to. It's funny, you know, we've got plenty of Spanish language radio in Arizona, and so sometimes in the car I'll cut it on, but it's just like English language radio, and that the radio is just stuff that everyone's parents listen to. Like, it hasn't changed. It's still Bohemian Rhapsody and, you know, whatever song with brass instruments, like middle-aged Mexican people were listening to 30, 40 years ago too. Like, it's just funny. It's the same. So all the new Spanish language music that I'm exposed to is almost always just playing between innings or doing infield on the complexes, and I dig it. It's, you know, it's a vibe I associate solely with baseball because of where I am up here. And this is Gonzalez through, then this is Montano, I assume. Kids going, let's look again, like, watch him throw this pitch and then shove his thumb into his belt buckle. What's going on there? It's pretty loose, a little long. You can really get a feel for how big Preciado is compared to the other kids from this view of him standing at short. Definitely in the this is what they look like category. The G-men don't have names here. Ooh. Sugaste, maybe? Eric, click the right thing, dude. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is Sugaste in there because I'm certain that George Bell is on deck. Featuring Sugaste, he's good. Real feel to hit, chance to catch. I don't know how good his numbers have been. Here's the. Fire up our tunes again here. Alright, so a good line from Sugaste so far, 20 games, 348, 392, 435. That was pretty hittable. He's well made, he's got a good feel for contact. I guess some of the data indicates he's a little aggressive. 6.8% walk rate in the AZL is not great, considering anyone can barely throw strikes. Stay. Walk. Here's George Bell. Yes. The answer to your question is yes. I guess if I moved the camera a little bit from this angle, the whole scoreboard and the count and everything would be there. That would be kind of sick, right? Next time there's a game on field 1, especially at night, I know I can either zoom out or... Wow, look at George Bell get down the line. Okay. Oh, there's a bomb. Yep. All right, let's watch that again. I love when the pitchers do this, right when they're like pointing up, like the outfielders don't know where it is, and then it just sails over everybody's head. It's a pretty tough shot to hit one out. This pitch is like here. Santana, who's another more like contact-oriented, first base only type guy, but it is advanced back-to-ball skill. Hope I sound okay. Cheddar, past him. See, the Cubs made a late charge in this one. Now. How are they feeling this song right now, actually? Like this umpire gives him an indication where he missed immediately on this one. Caraballo. pretty slick little infielder, actually. Guy who just, you watch him take infield and you're like, ooh, I'm into this guy. But struggling with the bat. It worked. We have Preciado on here though. It's the big one. Alright, let's go somewhere else. Let's watch one of the earlier innings from this game and check out Manuel Mercedes. I do think that Manuel Mercedes is like risky, right? Just there we go. So you have to minimize it though. Conceive a way to do this where I can like not interrupt the action so much, but also show some of this. So you can see like his arm action is kind of long, but again, like I've seen this guy sit 4 to 7 and flash 2 good secondary offerings as an 18-year-old. And like, look how loose he is, look how projectable he is. It's just him hucking velo past the guy who can hit for his age in Ezequiel Pagan. Here comes Preciado. Cheddar. Change up. Well located. Play it again. That front foot down, buddy. Some of these backfield games have been a little bit of more of an indictment of Preciado's feel for pitch recognition. This is also like the second game or third game of the AZL season, and he's seeing 94 to 97 out of the gate. Like, maybe I should be a little bit nicer. Keep in mind, Adrian Sugaste is catching here. And he's catching real big league shit in the video we're watching. This is Rafael Morel standing in now. Brother Chris also in the system. Morel was a fairly sizable amateur bonus guy. Just looks okay to me. Generous strike call. More of a utility. More positional utility likelihood, in my opinion. Stay on 1E here with nobody on base. Catching is the thing that in real time when I'm at the field. Alright, so breaking ball and 2 strikes. No more knee. Sugaste's catching here. Check in on what's going on box score wise between innings. I want to make sure that I'm keeping up with what's going on and putting out a video of this sort every week if I can, sharing some of the process, some of the footage I'm shooting, and going through the box scores like I typically would. Let's see what's going on when the East Coast games are mostly done. Just kind of ignore the box scores until they're done, basically. So I saw this group here, Worcester, while I was in the Northeast, and I do think Jeter Downs should slide. It's here so I can remind myself to consider doing this. I don't think he gets the head out in the way that he can hit velocity. I think it's starting to rear its head, that's a problem. Same way it did for Carter Kieboom. Like, at some point you just start to learn that stuff. Disagreement here about how quick that first pitch was coming. Zach Logue do here? Zach Logue with Toronto. This guy started off the year really hot. Just popped onto the radar based on how well he was performing, basically. Other real prospects going here. Kevin Smith's here. Yeah, here's Logue, 25. Let's see, 51 punch outs in 35 innings at AA before promotion to AAA. It's lasted 7 starts and just looking okay. I do not want to do. How's it going? It's back to about where we were here. I think this feels close to right. This is PJ Hilson stepping in. That's good enough for me. 10. PJ Hilson, who's in the box right now, a really toolsy kid who saw with like this Arkansas Sticks travel ball team while he was in high school. The team was loaded with tools guys, some of which didn't hit in college, like Max Marushak at Texas Tech. Hilson signed coming out and has struggled to hit, but he's like a 7 runner with power and bat speed, and he's a great kid too. Just wish he could find a way to hit. The track record of guys who have been on the complex as long as he has is not great. You identified that was a hanger, though. Just about punishing it. This is PJ Hilson just totally grinding away. You got a mound visit here. Let's take this opportunity to continue through our box scores from today. In Omaha, Cody Clemens, a little bit of right field and second base. It's kind of interesting to see. 4 day for Bobby Witt. Rough outing for Jake Newberry out of the bullpen. Dylan Coleman. Maybe needs to move on the Royals this year. Got from the Padres, and I think he came over with Edward Olivares for Timmy Hill. Was like 3-6 with a plus slider at peak. There's Quan Atkins in the box. Dylan Coleman was like, reliever at Missouri State. Well, he was a starter at Missouri State, projected as a reliever. Velo and a slider. On a guy built like a quarterback, but really violent reliever delivery, below average control, a little stare down there. But he's been dominant. 57 strikeouts and 35 in the third. He's gonna get out of here. Sends Zell down there, 0 for 2. Left early, was it with injury though? Stock's down there, Jose Barrero, 2 for 3. St. Paul. I wonder if the Indianapolis team will change their name. Tucapito Marcano, 2 for 4. Triple. Anthony Alford and Colin Moran both homered for Indy. Gilberto Celestino hit a home run. It's his first one at AAA. So this is Owen Casey stepping in. This is a great prospect matchup. Casey rates very extended. Doesn't really have a position, but it's real lefty power. Those first couple of days I saw him with the Cubs extended group, he was late on everything. Kind of like what we saw Preciado dealing with. And then his feel for timing arrived, and he was fantastic the rest of extended. So a guy I was skeptical on before the draft in 2020. Thought that he was just sort of like positionless, raw. Was definitely young for the class and coming out of Canada. Maybe you expect some late growth. You certainly hope for some. I don't know if you want to expect it, but it started to come. You can see how big and strong he is for a kid who's barely 18. Box scores in terms of what's done right now at 3:30 Pacific time. This is Felix Stevens in there now. Still the same video, right? Tank later in this game. Okay, so New Hampshire and Portland. Samad Taylor, I would expect to cool off here soon, folks. I know the numbers are ridiculous, but I don't think that's real. Otto Lopez, 0 for 3, but performing. Jordan Grosjean's 1 for 5, doing okay. Young and Taylor both sold base. That was Samad's 20th bag on the year. That's 1 for 4 for the Bo Sox guys. This is Ronier Quintero in there. Big bonus guy. Is he catching when the Cubs are on defense here? See what happened here. Mercedes doesn't seem stoked with Sugaste. Yeah, you just gotta catch that though, yeah. last one left off. It's 2.5 minutes. I'll go through this one yet. Alright, so now, if I want to search, like let's say hypothetically I've done all this stuff, and I want to put together a video of someone for whatever reason, let's think here, like, who's been drafted or traded lately, who for sure I want to do. Actually, here's a good example. Where is that knight from the Giants' place against Angels? This is too far deep into the log. This is at the Angels. This is at the D-backs. I think it was this night. And I want... Let's see. This is 20 minutes long. I think that it's going to be one of these three. Where Ivan Armstrong, who was just traded this weekend, is in here. There's Denzer Guzman. Jalen Davis rehabbing. Through that night, but did I not get any footage? This is what happens when you just let your camera roll. Is this maybe him? Is this maybe him? Archie's got a cold. Archie went to the vet because he had a hematoma on his ear, basically, that had to be drained. And then he came home from the vet, and 24 hours later had cold symptoms. So that's not the best. Like, I would just search for his name, and any clip I've ever labeled ever would populate here, and then I could, here he is. This is the night that it was. This is from Extended. This is during like my East Valley team evaluation period, where I'm seeing Giants, D-backs, Rockies, Angels, Cubs, A's most of the time as I'm working on those prospect lists. Jason Santana in there. Actually helps me now know in my notes where this outing from Armstrong would be, to recall correctly that it was not against the Angels. I guess it helps myself. Here's Ed Howard. Where's Ed Howard? Jeremy Covey's notes. There's Carson Ragsdale, Williams, Seth Corey, Luciano, Casey Schmidt. Here it is, Armstrong. 5-7 with tail. Slider 86, changeup 88. That's about what those are. See how this concludes. There's the slidey. It's off the mound okay for how big he is, right? Double A games on the East Coast are still going on. Riley Green 2 for 5 today. Having a great year, 4 for 4. Brian Rocchio recently promoted to Double A, 0 for 5. 2 for 4 day from Brian Lavastida, who's like, you know, the other big time performing name in the recently renamed Guardians system. Cody Morris, I think, is a 40-man ad for Cleveland this offseason. 7 punch outs and 3 1/3 today. This is a slider. That looks like a slider. Maybe it was a cambio. Just looked like it had enough left side action that I'd call it a slider. What happened here? Armstrong. Alright, so does that mean, let's just, there's one up here. And all these guys are on the Cubs list. You have Minangos. You can see from build-wise that it's a little different, but he's pretty explosive. Verdugo, I think Verdugo's gonna be the last guy. At least Verdugo can only pick it. He's gotten stronger, but it's like a 3-bat. Alright. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate people's interest in this stuff. So yeah, like a lot of video work to do here, but that's my fault for letting a backlog accumulate. Bless you, Archie. Oh, wait. Alright, what are we at here? Wow, okay. Thanks for checking this out. Hopefully soon this channel will resume mostly being about prospect videos that I'm putting up, but in addition to doing that, I do like doing this and peeling back the curtain a little bit and getting to kind of put a vibe out there. So thank you, and I'll talk to you guys next week.